I think we're good to go. Okay. Hi, everybody. So today we are gonna play Cartographers. I'm gonna hold it up. It's this game right here. And that's what we're gonna play. So if we actually look, Cartographers is much like the other game that we played the other night, and on Tuesday night. So it's a lot like oh, what was it? Patchwork Doodle. So it's going to be filling in little dots like that. So we're going to still wait till a few other people join us. Possibly another person will join us. But otherwise, if you don't have the sheet yet, you are going to need the little sheet to play. The blank side should just look like that. Actually, I'll hold it up again. Looks like this. This one's really shiny because it is our laminated copy. But this is the basic of what we're going to play on. If you're going to create your own, which is fine, it is an 11 by 11 square of boxes. So you can do it on a piece of graph paper, 11 by 11. If you can still find the file, you'd be able to know where to put the mountains and the ruins. And so you can kind of see them. They're pretty small on here, but if you look at the PDF that we put up on our website, you'll be able to see where the placement of those are. And otherwise, you can play with a piece of paper then, and then join us in and play along with. So that is the basics of what you're going to need. Again, today, Saturday, we're going to focus. This is a day of just learning and playing Cartographers. I want you guys to fully understand how to play this game. That way you can play it with us for the Tuesday night game nights into our cycle of game nights that we're going to be playing. But we thought we would start with a really good overview of how to play this game. And then we'll leave it up on the Twitch site so you can always kind of refer back to it and play again later. And then after that, we'll probably post it on our YouTube page. So that way you can find how we played it and then literally play it along with us. Now, this particular time I went through and I kind of have a custom setup. I picked specific cards that I thought would be easier for us all to understand, and we'll get into that. But normally what we would do is we would open this guy up and we would randomly pick out the different goal cards to go with. And so I'm going to zoom in here and we'll start. Oh, no, I'm not going to zoom in completely yet. Okay, so here we go. All right, so Cartographers board game, we'll just leave this off to the side. You have your sheets of paper that you're going to have. On one side, which you guys don't have, is going to be this little cavern thing. If you have an actual sheet, if you have the actual game, we're just going to be using the simplified side today just for the learning how to play. All right, so what we do to set this up, we've already kind of went through and set it up. The role of the game is we're going to play through 4 separate rounds, and each round has a different amount of cards that we're going to play through, much like Patchwork when we got to pick out different Tetris style tiles. This one is going to have a different amount of those that we're going to go through. It's not a set amount every round, but we're going to play through 4 rounds because we're playing through each season. And so every season has its own goal cards that we are going to go. So spring, we're only scoring goals A and B. And then summer, it's B and C. And fall, it is C and D. And then winter is D and A. Now, you guys don't have to remember all of this. I'm just letting you know so that way you kind of have a feel for how the game is going to progress. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to zoom in a lot tighter, and I'm only going to show you the 2 goal cards that are available for that round of scoring. Now, you're going to win this game if you end with the most amount of points, little victory points. And there's different ways to get victory points throughout the game. Now, I'll zoom into a little map to kind of show you. So the victory points on your map are signified by these little coin symbols. And so coins are going to get you points at the end of the game.
Well, that's probably the smallest way.
It's probably the smallest way. The biggest way of getting points is completing these special goal cards. And each of them has a special thing that they need you to accomplish to get the goal out of it. And again, we're only focusing on 2 goals every round, and so that's the only 2 goals that you're going to see. But I'm going to go through all the goals to start with so you kind of have it in the back of your mind what you're focused on. The goals always have something to do with, so we can kind of see right here, actually. Again, she hit the table, so everything had to shake.
You know, and he built this really great new setup just so that I couldn't bump it.
Exactly, and she still bumps it. Okay, so this setup has some things that are going to be, the same thing every single time. One of the goals is always going to pertain to fields and water. One is always going to pertain to cities. One is always going to pertain to some sort of placement rule, like how you place them. And then one is always going to pertain to forest spaces. Now, I know this all doesn't really make sense right now because we haven't jumped into it, but I just want you to understand how the goals are kind of set up, in that everything you are going to do is going to help you get points eventually through the game. And then we just score. And so, again, we're going to walk through it really slowly, but we're going to kind of play at the same time. So just bear with me so it makes a little more sense. So let's make sure we're zoomed in all the way and focused enough so you guys can see what these cards say. But I'm also going to read the cards. So move this out of the way for now. I'm trying to think what's probably better. Probably better to show you is not the goal cards and instead show you the placing. And so every turn, what you're going to need is one of two things. You can either just grab a pencil and you can draw the symbols. And so we're going to have different symbols show up. Some are going to have houses. Some are going to have forest. Some are going to have, let's see here, where's the, like little monsters. And then some are going to have, lakes, and some are going to have fields. That's the sideways slanty lines. So if you just want to use a pencil, that's fine. And you just draw in the little things as they come up. Otherwise, you can use a color. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing it with dry erase markers. And so mine are just going to be colors. But we have a few of these boards that we've done. We've taken a lot more time and we've colored in the actual little like buildings in their specific colors as well. You could do that. But this is a different way of showing. So like the red represents houses, the blue represents water, green represents forest, and yellow represents fields. The purple is monsters that come into the game that we're going to have to deal with. And we have a workaround. Normally you hand this to somebody else and they fill in the monsters for you. Our workaround is the single player variant, and that is where we'll get into that when we need them, but they just get placed in a particular order. Now,
and unlike patchwork, you're not going to get any negative points for these empty spaces.
Right. So yeah, no negative points for empty spaces. On this board, you'll notice there's these mountains that you guys have. Once a mountain is surrounded orthogonally adjacent, so all four sides are closed in, you get 1 coin.
So like here, you would also get a coin.
Yeah.
Because the diagonals, you don't have to worry about diagonals.
Exactly. So and anytime you get a coin, you just mark it down here, showing that you got a coin. And at the end of that round, you're going to get, there we go. You would mark it down here to show that you got a coin. And at the end of the round, you're going to count up how many coins you currently have, and they're going to get cumulatively better as the game goes on because you're going to keep counting the same ones that you counted the rounds before. That's the basic placement. You can place anywhere you want. What is going to depict where you're going to place stuff is all in the goal cards that we're going to focus on. So that is what I'm going to go into teaching next. Okay, so I'm going to do a brief overview of all 4 goals that we are going to focus on in this game. And then we're going to start playing, but we're only going to see 2 of the goal cards. So I'll go a little more in depth with the 2 that we currently have to focus on. All right.
Yeah, but if you guys at any point need to know, like, we're placing green, but we're not scoring it right now, where are we wanting to put that, just ask. We can pop it back out and as needed.
We can let you know then. Okay, so starting with goal A. So with goal A, we're going to focus on placing lakes and fields next to mountains. And so if we were to have to draw a lake and you placed a lake next to a mountain, every lake next to a mountain at the end of that round that scores that particular card is going to get you 2 points. Every field, my fields are going to be orange. So hopefully you can differentiate between that and my red. Maybe I'll do lines for it. But regardless, for every field adjacent to a mountain is going to get you 1 point. And so it's really good to get mountains or get lakes and fields next to mountains for this game, because they are going to get you points. So that is the basic of A. B is going to be all about our houses. So they are going to be represented with a red. And so what you're going to do with them, you are going to get 8 points for every region that contains at least 6 houses. And so if you were to fill in one, say it was like kind of an elbow like that, and then later you were to fill another elbow up here, these would be 6 adjacent cities like this, little houses. And so this would form one city of 6. So you would get 8 points. But if this one, if you kept growing it bigger, it's still only worth 8 points. So quick strategy.
If you build another one over here of 6, then that would be another separate 8 points.
Exactly. So if you focused your next one on building it here, at the end, this would be 8 points and this would be 8 points. And then if you built another one here, as long as they're not touching, they're going to be 8 points. So anything that is 6 or more red tiles is going to get you 8 points. But they have to be separated, because if they're over, I mean, if you keep building a massively huge city that's like 30, you're still only getting 8 points in it because it's all one city. All right, so that's how the goal B is going to work. This one, I picked this one specifically because most of you guys had played Patchwork with us. And so this one kind of works like Patchwork in a way. So what you do is you pick your biggest square that comes off of a corner. And for every region that it takes up, is going to get you 3 points. So if the square is just a 1 by 1 square right here, but it's on a corner, that's going to get you 3 points. So make sure when we get to this goal that you have at least something in one of the corners, because it's going to get you 3 points. Now, if you built something else bigger like this, now it's going to be 3 for that square and 3 for this square. So you're going to get one for every row that is in that square, no matter the color. So if I filled this in with, fields, and then this one in with water, this is still going to be another 3 points. So I'm going to get 9 points for this square. So that's how that one is going to work. It's much like Patchwork. So you're just trying to build squares coming out of a corner. Okay. And then lastly, this is probably one of the easiest ones to understand. You are going to get 1 point for goal number or goal letter D. You're going to get 1 point for every forest that is touching the edge of the map. So as long as it's touching the edge of the map at the end of the game, it is going to be worth, there's the neon green again for you guys. It's more forest green for me. All right. So anyway, at the end of the game, you would get, 3 points in this particular case. If you put another green one right here, you're still only getting 3 because this isn't touching the edge. Pretty straightforward and simple. So that's what these ones mean. And like I said, we'll go into depth with them again, depending on which goals come up and which season we're in. But this is the basics to remember as we're playing, and we're going to get fields or we're going to get things that aren't being scored this round, how to start planning ahead for the future rounds.
Did you talk about the ruins?
No, I haven't talked about the ruins yet.
Well,
So
they might want to plan ahead not to put stuff on there.
Right. So we don't have anything scoring with ruins, but periodically we are forced to place something on a ruin. And so we'll get into that. So how the game plays is we have these 2 decks. This deck is full of monster cards. And every round we're going to put a new monster into the deck. So we might not actually have monsters the entire game, but we might have a round that we have 4 monsters show up. The whole other deck is full of different, full of different fields or different things that we might put in. Some of them are specific, like this has to be a river and it has to be this shape. Just like in Patchwork, it can be flipped or turned or spun around. And it could also be this shape over here. So if there's ever 2 shapes listed, you can take either the bigger shape, or if you take the smaller shape, it sometimes comes with a coin. And so it might be better sometimes to take the smaller shape just to get the coin.
But you would only draw one of them.
Yep, you would only draw one. You'd pick this one or this one. You wouldn't pick them both. Now with this one, the orchard, you have to draw this L somewhere on your map, but it could be a forest or it could be a field. It's not both, it's one or the other, but you get to choose if you want it to be a forest or a field. And that's how that generally works. Periodically, we're going to draw these. They are outpost ruins or just ruins in general. What that means is when we draw one, the next thing we draw has to be placed on a ruin. So if we were to draw this ruin, we'd have to draw this. And then this one happens to be a hamlet. This hamlet has to be built somewhere on a ruin space, which is these little like watermarks that you see right there. If for some reason you can't draw it on a ruin, I think
draw one space.
Yeah, you just
anytime you're not able to draw something, you just put in a one square.
Okay. Yep. So it would just be a single square that you're going to fill in if you can't place anything. Unlike patchwork where you had other things or you just pass. This one, you still draw something, but only one of that thing. Okay. So here's how we start. We grab this deck. It is just full of all those special cards that we saw. And we're going to put in one monster. And we're going to shuffle this all together. Again, I'll cover monsters if we get them. We've had some games that we haven't gotten monsters. We've had some games that we've gotten a bunch. And so we'll learn about that when we get there. All right. So now we are in spring, which says that we score just goals A and B. If you look at the very bottom of your chart right here, it actually says that you're scoring for round one, you're scoring A and B. And the next one is going to be what it's scoring for that, what it's scoring for that, what it's scoring for that. And so we'll get into that after the beginning of the first round, you'll understand. So I'm going to put spring up. I know that it's A and B, which is going to be, looks like it's this one and, oh, that is B. Okay. And B. Yeah, because we actually don't have to see what they are. Just as long as you guys can see what the general goal is. So this particular round, if you can, you're going to want to focus on building lakes next to mountains or building fields next to mountains or building cities that consist of six buildings. All right. 6 squares. Yeah. Okay. Let's shuffle this up. And I'm going to place it off camera so I can kind of have like a progression. Also, I'm going to get to, can I put this? I'm going to put it right above my head. That way you guys can see it. So right above my head is a number 8. It's part of spring, and I'm putting it above my head so that way you guys can see these little things. Oh, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a ruin. So this has to go on top of a ruin. Oh, and it's the hamlet. Okay, so you'll notice right up here, there's a number, and it's a number 1. And so there's number 1, number 2, and there's a 0. Once all of our cards total or exceed the number of the season, right here, this 8, that's what ends the round. So this is why it's a variable thing. If all we ever draw is 1s, it's going to be 8 rounds. If all we ever draw is 2s, it's only going to be 4 rounds or 4 turns before we end. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to put it there. Actually, if I put up a little bit more, you can see that it is spring. Actually, yeah, we'll just do that. No, I mean, you guys can see the goal that we're doing. Okay, you know that we are in spring. You know that we have to fill in 8 sections. And this is our first one. So you have to place this somewhere in a ruin. And it has to be a red. So Michelle is going to...
So here's my
I'm going to put the
board.
microphone closer to you.
Sure. Here's my board. And I went for the big hamlet because it's going to get me closer to that 6 faster. Mm-hmm. And there's a ruin right here. So then that worked out for me. And I drew little houses. I don't know if Adam's drawing houses or if he's going to just color his in, but I drew houses.
You're so special. I'm going to color mine in.
But you shouldn't color in your fields or you're not going to be able to tell the difference between the orange and the red.
I won't color in the fields.
So we're using dry erase markers, which means we have kind of a limited color palette here. So we're using these colors. The pink is going to be for the purple monsters and the orange is for the fields. So that's what we're doing here.
All right. So Michelle might have placed in the same place I did. So I covered up. Oh no, you didn't. I covered up this one. I wanted to leave the mountain squares open for right now because I
That
want
makes
to be able to
sense.
put a lake or fields next to them. But it's not a bad idea to put this next to a mountain. It kind of fits around a mountain. And remember, if you fill each side of the mountain orthogonally, you are going to get a coin, and that's going to be a point as well. So you kind of have to give and take what is going to be good for you. Okay, so that was the first one. Trying to think of how to.
Well, you could just leave it there, and usually you do that, and then you just keep moving it down.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the first. I want to make sure you guys can see what round we're on. There we go. Okay, the second one. It's another one. It is the Great River. And so this is kind of, you have to choose, are you going to put in that W kind of shape? And again, you can turn it 90 degrees. You can flip it around, do whatever you want. Or you can put in a 1x3 and take a coin if you choose to do that. Okay, and this will be blue for me. And again, remember, any rivers orthogonally adjacent or any water spaces orthogonally adjacent to a mountain are going to get you 2 points for each one that's orthogonally adjacent. So
I'll share mine since I'm ready to go. So I put my river right over here, and that completed my mountain. So then down here at the bottom, I marked off the coin from finishing the area around the mountain. I kind of like using the dry erase markers. I wasn't sure if I would, but I kind of like it.
a little brighter. You kind of understand more what you filled in.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys like playing this and you want to play it, like you can keep playing it with us. We're going to be playing this on Tuesday nights, game night. But we did find it's also on Tabletopia, which is like a
It's like a virtual.
Yeah. virtual table. It doesn't come with the rule. I mean, I think you can look up the rules. You have to know how to set it up and everything. But after you played with us a couple times, you might be able to figure it out. And then you could play with family members a little more, personally in there. So I put my W right here. In this way, I have it touching two mountains. And so I thought I would, two birds, one stone. I don't know how that's going to work for me, but
Well, mine still has
we'll try it.
squares.
Yours does have two squares touching it. I was thinking of doing it that way.
Yeah.
All right, so far we are up to 2, and we need to get up to 8 so we can keep going. I'm going to put this one here, and then I'll put the next row right here. So this is a fishing village. You can either put in a 1x4 red, 1x4 village, or you can put in a 1x4 river. But you have to pick one of the two, and that is what is going to go in somewhere in your area.
I can hear Griffin in the other room whispering about his birthday. He's so excited for this birthday to come up. It's still 2 months away, but he's pretty pumped. He's gonna be 4, so.
All right, so I was gonna try breaking it up more, but I decided to toss it in here. I put it into this village right here, so it's all one. I've guaranteed myself that I'm gonna get 8 points this turn. I was thinking though this round. I was thinking strategically though, making a second city with this 4. But I wanted to guarantee that I at least finished one that had at least 6. So I won't build onto any more of the city.
It's possible we won't pull any more red.
Exactly.
And then that would be terrible.
Exactly. Okay. So next round, we have the Forgotten Forest. Now remember, it's not scoring this round, but forest tiles, as long as they're touching the edge of the map, are going to get you 1 point for every square that's touching the edge of the map. And so,
we can flip it, right?
yeah, we can flip it. You can turn it around. And again, you can choose either one of these. So you could choose, this one, or if you choose the one with only 2 dots on it here, you would get the coin. But it has to be a forest. So this would be some forward thinking. It's not going to get scored this round. You have to put in a forest anyway. So if you put it in the right spot, it can hopefully get you some additional points later on. Hmm.
I'll show you guys what I've got going on at this point. So I've got my big group of red houses now, and I decided to take the smaller of the two, to just do the two trees. And so then I marked off another gold. And every gold you have will be a point at the end of each round.
Have you
So
surrounded that one?
the I surrounded this one here.
Yeah.
And then I took the gold for taking the smaller shape.
Oh, for taking the smaller shape. Okay, I got you. I see. Okay.
But thanks for making sure I'm not.
Okay. Next one is the farmland.
Ooh, that's
So this is a plus sign farmland or a 1x2 farmland, but you would get an additional coin with it. And so it has to be farmland. Again, farmland that surrounds a mountain gets you points this round. It'll get you 1 point for every farmland touching part of a mountain. How do I want to? Okay. Be careful how I color this in because otherwise my red and the orange marker look very similar. So that's what I did. There we go. So here's where I put my field. This way it was adjacent to the mountain, and it also fills in some of the squares around the mountain to be able to get those additional coin points.
Yeah.
Good.
And I finished another mountain, so I've got another coin.
Nice. Okay, so let's see here. What are we up for totals? We have 2, 4, 5, 6. So we this might be our last turn if we draw 2. We'll have at least one more turn if we draw something other. Nope, we drew a 2. So this is our last round, and then we're going to do a scoring round. So this is a marshland, which means in this case you can take either a forest with the T here, or you can take the water with the T. Now remember, this current round you are getting 2 points for every water touching a mountain. But later on, you'll get 1 point for every forest touching the edge. So depends if you want points now or points eventually.
Kind of a tough call. But I have a spot that fits nicely. I'm going to end up covering up one of my ruins, which could be bad later because I might run out of ruins.
So in case anybody asked the question or wants to ask it but didn't think about it, you can cover up a ruin at any time. You don't have to do it. But if ever we draw a ruin, then you have to place it over a ruin. And if you can't, then you get penalized. And so you have to be careful with covering up ruins because we might get more and more ruins. All right. So that was mine. I put my T section right here. So it was kind of surrounding that mountain. Okay.
I suppose blue would be 2 points. That would be 4 points.
All right. So that is the end of this round. I'm going to move these cards out of the way.
Yeah, I'm going to change.
There's a few things that happen here, just so you are aware. There's not a lot of cards that we actually work with. What we do is we take all the cards that we currently just played with. We're going to shuffle them all back in. But since we didn't, since this is the next round, we have to take a new monster card and put him into the deck. So in this deck, we have 2 monsters now. If we ever draw a monster, we actually remove them out of the deck and we won't have to have them again. But as the rounds go by without drawing a monster, it ups the chances that we are going to have multiple. There we go. It ups the chances that we're going to have multiple monsters. Okay. So that is getting ready for the next round. Spring is over with. We have to score for spring now. And so what you're going to do, you're going to look at your fields and your Mage's Valley, this first one. So look at your fields that touch a mountain and your water spaces that touch a mountain. And so for your water spaces, for mine right here, I'm going to get 2 points for this one, 2 points for this one. We'll just do, I wonder if we can see it. 2. No, you can't. Can't see it over the top. Okay, so anyway, you're going to get 2 points for that one, 2 points for that one. I'm going to get 2 points for it touching this one and 2 for this one. And 1 point for each of these fields touching the mountain.
For 10 points.
Yep.
That's
So
the same I have.
that's 10 points for goal number A. So I put a 10 in that first little box. For goal B, you find your town that's at least 6. And I'm glad I put this here because we didn't have any other reds that came up. So I have one town that is over 6. So that is going to get me just a solid 8 points. So we put 8 points in the B section. You count the coins that you have accrued. I didn't get any coins. Michelle did get some coins. And so she would put a 3 in that section. I don't get to put anything because I didn't get any coins. If you got coins, if you surrounded a mountain and got a coin, or you took any of those specials that got you coins, you are going to write down how many coins you have so far. And you put that there. Then monsters. We don't have any monsters yet, so we won't even worry about that. And you just total this up. I am currently at 18 points because I don't have coins. But if you did have coins,
21.
Michelle has 21. Okay, that is the basics of scoring. I feel like, it's pretty straightforward.
That one will stay.
Yep, we'll go on to the next one. I'm going to put it up here. Summer says that we score B and C. So that means that we're going to score this guy again. This was B. And C is the Lost Barony is what it's called.
That's
So I'm
the one
going to...
where you want to have a square coming out of one of your corners.
Yeah. So now you're going to want to focus on making sure that you at least start feeling something coming out of a corner. Now, I didn't do it at all, but Michelle...
Where I'm pretty well set up.
She has a good setup. If we look right here, right away, she has a 3x3 square, which means that she can take 3 times the 3 points is basically what you're going to do. You're going to take one edge of it and multiply it by 3. If she can get this box and this box and this box filled in, she'd have a 4x4. So she would multiply 4 times the 3 points for each of them.
Now, we won't ever score the B again. So once this one is done, like going forward, you won't need to worry about it
Yep.
anymore. That one will be over after this round.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to pull this down. Summer is a long season, which is actually kind of funny. I think winter's the smallest season, so they're not really, this isn't set up for us in the north. But anyway, summer is a long season, which means that it is going to take 8 total, coins before we move on to the next round. Okay, now remember, we do have monsters. We have 2 monsters in this deck currently, which means we might run into them. And I'll explain to those if we get them. All right, this is our first 0. It doesn't count toward ending the round. It is the Rift Lands. It is just a single box of any color you want to fill in. And so you could have it be just literally anything. You could even have it be a monster. It's not good to have it be a monster. Don't have it be a monster.
Make it a monster. That would be really weird.
Yeah. But make it something else. Make it something worthwhile that's going to work for what you have in a setup. For me, I had that weird, I'm going to pull this forward because you guys just have to, I had this weird space right here that wasn't filled in. But if I put a forest there, I know that when we get to forest that this is going to be worth 1 point just for placing it there. But also this helps me with this current goal of making this a nice solid square. So that's what I did. This is really just going to probably help you guys fill in that square of whatever you're building or boost your other things. Okay, next round, Treetop Village. Okay, so there's the new one. It's going to go for 2 against our other thing, but let's explain it really quick. It's this weird, shape right here. You can either have it be trees or you can have it be a village. So you choose. Is it going to be red or green? Now remember, red, this is the last round red is going to score in. So if you can get a red up to 6, a city of 6.
5, so you've got a good start.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to do something and I'm going to show it. My cities touch diagonally, but it doesn't actually count for the thing. So they're not actually touching
Yet.
So
You'll have to be
right
careful.
here. So as long as I can keep these separate and I can build this as a 6 over here without touching it to this one, this will count as 2 separate cities, which will get me 2 sets of 8 points. So I'll get 16 points if I can get it one more space bigger.
I really like how my map is turning out today. I think it's just cute.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is an orchard. We've had this one before. It's the L, and it can be a forest or it can be a field. Again, we're going to have fields come up again at the very end of the game. They're going to be the last goal scored. But the next goal after this next one, trees, will come up soon as well. So you can choose which is going to work better for your setup.
I've got mine. I've just put it in here. There we go. I mirrored it so that it would fit in there really well. So now I've got a 4x4 square in that corner.
Oh, nice. I see. Right up there.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to be indecisive and not sure what I want to put in. Let's see. I'm gonna put it in as forest, I think. I was gonna do fields next to a mountain, but I think forest works better for what I'm going for. So I just put mine right here on the edge. So I think everyone's hopefully kind of getting it now and playing along. Oh, okay. Here is our first monster. It's a weird shape. What you're going to do is you're going to take your purple, or if you're just using a pencil, you're going to draw on little monster symbols. I don't know if you can make them out. They just look like a weird little, head with horns on it. But anyway, so you have this shape. It's 2 1x2s next to each other with an open space. It has up here that we have to start by placing it somewhere in our top right-hand corner. And if we can't place it there, this says to go clockwise. And so what we do is we follow the map along clockwise, trying to fit this shape. And you can't turn it. It has to be in that orientation. So I can't fit it here because the mountain would run into it. And I can't fit it here because this field runs into it. So it comes around here. And it has to keep crawling along the edge till it can find a spot. So in this case, this is the first spot that it can fit. Again, it has to be a 2x2. And I'm going to make these kind of crossed like this. I want to make sure you guys can tell the difference between this and everything else on my board. These are my monsters. Okay, so let's explain what happens when we get monsters. So try to find a place to fit this in.
Here's where mine was able to fit. And see, I had to come around, but I was able to fit down here.
So you're going to start up here, and you're just going to keep going along, and the instant it can fit, it falls into place. It has to stay along the edge, and then kind of creep along this edge. And it can't turn, it can't spin, it just keeps going along. If for some reason you have filled in all the edge and it can't fit, good for you. You don't have to place it. But if you can place it, you have to place it. Now, at the end of the round, for every open space next to these is an area in which these guys are ravaging the fields. And so they're not contained. So that is 1 negative point for everything orthogonally adjacent to these that isn't filled in. Now, if I can put a forest here and a city here and a lake here, I can mitigate those negative points. And so I won't have as many negative points because I filled them in with basically, think of it as like walls, or guards are going around and they're filling it in. So we'll see on our next turn ways that we hopefully can fill it in depending if you put it there. Okay. So the next round, we're up to currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're up to 5, and we can go up to 8. So this is a hamlet. It's a red section. You can pick 2 different versions of it. I'm going to pick the smaller of the 2 because I just want to boost my other one up to. There we go. And then, because I picked the smaller one, I got to get a coin. So I'm going to put this up here. All right, so I put my other L shape right here. This now makes a city of at least 6 here and a city of at least 6 here. So I know at the end of this round, I'm going to get 16 points for my cities. But by taking the smaller of the two, I also got 1 coin. So that is how that guy works. Let's see if we can get something else to like fill in this. Okay, so we have a great river. This actually might work on helping some of us fill in those monster spaces if you want. So the Great River we've had before. Again, you take the W or you take the 1x3 with the coin. Again, we're not scoring rivers this round, but we will score them again later. But what I am going to do is I am going to fill in a space. Okay, I'm going to show my board here. I put the river right here. It goes in between the two like bad guys section. So I'll just fill in that now that you guys can see it. So I did this. What this is going to do is now these two things don't count as negative points against me every round because it's filled with something. They can't cross or invade the river. So that's why I put that there. It doesn't actually get me any other points, and it also does cover up a ruin. So if we get other ruins, I might be out of luck. It's a 1x3 or the W.
Big brother doesn't want to make little brother the snack that he wants, which is a sandwich with nothing on it.
A bread sandwich.
A bread sandwich with some Cheerios and an eating pickle.
And an eating pickle.
Versus, our decorative pickles we keep
Right,
around
right.
us.
I think the eating pickle is the cornichon, right?
Yeah,
the little tiny ones.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next card is this one. It's the farmland. So it's either a 1x2 or the plus sign. 1x2 would come with a coin. What are we up here? So we have 1, 2, or so we have 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're gonna have one more round at least after this.
It's like, do I put it to block off the monsters to keep from getting negative points, or do I put it on a place to get points? But I think the negative points would hurt me more than the positive points.
Right.
So I guess I'm doing that.
I am going to also block off monsters. So these are things that are not helping your goals. They are just there to help with monsters. So I put my field here. I put my water space here, right there. And so if you look, when we count up negative points for monsters, I only have 1, 2 open space. Instead of before we had a total of 6 open spaces for me. And those negative points kind of keep coming up every round. So you sort of have to take care of it. So we have one last round.
Three open spaces right now. So
one last round. It is a fishing village. So this is a 1x4 village or a 1x4 river. Now remember, this is the last round that we are scoring for a town. So if you can't get a town to be at least 6 this round, don't bother making it a town is what I'm saying. We are going to score rivers next to mountains again. And so it might work well to put it next to a mountain because that will get you points. In my case, I'll just show up here. I put my 1x4 right here because then it was next to a mountain way up here. But it also took up that last space next to my monsters. So my monsters are like on their own little, private island.
Well, I've got my monsters have 1 space there on the top.
Okay.
So I'll have that 1 negative point. I don't know if I'll be able to cover that up at any point because it's just 1 space. But I got the rest of the spaces covered, so that's good.
All right, so that's the end of the round. Any monsters that we had, they're gonna disappear. We don't have to deal with that monster again.
Yeah,
we're gonna take the deck that we used. We're gonna put in 1 new monster. We're gonna shuffle all this up. This is just getting ready for the next round. And now we're gonna do scoring. Again, we are just scoring B and C, which are these over here. So you're gonna walk through. Let's see here. Everybody hopefully remembers how to score for this first one. This was B. You just find your towns. I have 2 towns that are at least 6. So that's going to be 16 points because it's 8 points per town that size. And then This one, squares coming out of a side. Mountains count as a filled in space. So in case you guys have built that square and that mountain takes up part of that, that's a filled in space. It's the thing of it is like a free space. So my biggest square coming off the edge is right here. It's just a 2x2. So I'm going to get 2 times 3 points, which is going to be 6 points for that one. I'm going to do that one in blue. So
I've got my
6 points.
there you go. I've got a 4x4 square. So
Yep.
that was a whopping 12 points for me.
Right. So she gets to have 12 points. And then coins, I have 1 coin. And for monsters, I have...
That's so we can see it.
For monsters, I have 1 open space next to my monster still. So that is 1 negative point. So basically, my coin and my monster are balancing themselves out. And I have to add up all the scores. So 16 plus 6 is going to be 22.
Ooh, I had 31.
Yeah.
round.
That wasn't a good round for me.
I'm probably going to beat you.
Probably. Okay.
Do
So-
monsters count as filled in space? They do?
Yes, they do. They'll count as filled in spaces. So when it comes to that thing, or even this monster next to this mountain, if I can fill in this space and this space, he helps me get that coin from the mountain.
They're not entirely bad if you can get them surrounded.
Yes. As long as you can get them surrounded, they just kind of take up other space. So let's move this out of the way. We are going to go on to fall now. We no longer have goal B. We are going to be doing goals C, which is this guy that we just did, and goal D, which is for every forest space touching the edge of the map is 1 point. That one is pretty.
And this will be the last time we do this goal.
Yep, it'll be the last time we see the one that comes off of the square. This also only has 7 is the total number before we end the round. All right, shuffle these. I feel like everybody's kind of getting it. There's not a lot of like chatter needing to understand. So we can probably go a little bit quicker toward the end here. All right, the first one is the homestead. So this is one that you can either have a red, you can either have a home of this little like small T section, or you can have a field. Now remember, reds are not going to be scored again at all the rest of this game. Only fields are. And so if this works well for you to put a field next to a mountain, that can get you more points than doing anything else. Let's see. Where do I want to put that? Put it there. You know what? We're going to go here. Okay, so I filled in another space next to a ruin, but you don't have to, again. So I just plopped mine right up here, and I did it as a homestead. So that way it was covering, it kind of helped me with the square up here that I was working on, but it also covers part of the mountain, and it's next to a mountain, so that works. That works out. All right, next round. Farmland. I'm just getting tons more of these. All right, so you can take either the plus sign or the 1x2 with the coin. And I am going to take the 1x2 with the coin. Because if you guys saw on my other board, I'll put it over here. It filled in the rest of that space around that mountain for me, which is going to get me another coin just from the mountain. And I'm going to get a coin for taking the smaller of the 2 shapes. So I'm going to get 2 coins from that one action, plus each of those farmlands, when we get back to the farmland scoring, is going to get us 1 point for each one touching a mountain. So.
And I used mine to help make my 4x4 square bigger.
Nice. So we're currently up to 3. So we'll continue going in the rounds. Oh, we have hinterland. So this one is a long right angle. You can either have it be a water space or a field. Now remember, water spaces adjacent to mountains are worth 2 points versus field spaces adjacent are only worth 1. So this might help dictate where and how you place that particular one. And again, you don't get any negative points for empty spaces at the end of the game. So you don't have to worry about that. You're only getting negative points for the empty spaces next to monsters.
Clarissa says we're concentrating, but there's not time to chat when you are concentrating.
That is true. So we're up to 5.
That's okay.
So if this card is a 2, this will end the round. If it's a 1, we'll keep going.
It's not a one.
Oh, it's a monster. Okay, so this is a monster that looks like this shape right here. It says that we are starting in the bottom left-hand corner, and that you are going to try to fit it going around your board clockwise again, meaning the other 2 monsters in the deck will be counterclockwise. And again, you can't turn this. And so for my case, he has to fit perfectly where he wants to fit, which is right here. So
You went on a ruin for me.
So for mine, he's going to fit right here. If I had something in this shape, I'd have to move him up and keep creeping along the edge. But that is where
Mine had to move up, but not very far. Just like up one space.
he fits. Now remember, monsters at the end of the game are only worth negative points for the empty spaces.
Can we
Next to
put
them.
a monster close to another one?
Yes, I mean, you just have to place it wherever it can first fit. You don't get to... Oops, sorry. You don't get to choose where the monster goes. This guy says he starts in this corner, and then what you would do is if he didn't fit, you would go up and up and up 1 square at a time until he can fit. And if he can't fit in this row, you start creeping along this edge until he can fit, until he can fit, until he can fit. Once he can fit, you have to just place him there.
And no, you cannot turn the shape.
Yeah, so there's no turning him to make him fit. He just has to fit this particular direction all the way across. Or wherever he first fits. So we'll actually move him off and throw him away already. All right, so now let's hopefully not have monsters again.
Yes.
We have Riftland. So again, this one, you guys can put a monster in if you want to, anywhere. It probably would be better to use something else though. But you can place anything, a one dot anywhere on your map. And I'm gonna place a. We are gonna score those again. I'm gonna place a water in this bottom corner. There we go. So I placed a water next to my other monster right here, just to mitigate that negative point that would come up. Okay, so we're up to 5. Okay, we're at 7. This will be the last round, the last turn of this round, I should say. So you can either take the treetop village, or you can take the trees or the village. Again, the villages are not going to get you extra points from now on. Only the trees are. And the trees only get you points if they're touching the outer edge of everything.
Won't go that far up. Well, it's not as exciting as I thought it was, but it's still pretty good.
We are going to... place along here. Okay, once I place mine, I'm going to put my board forward again. I'm going to walk through the next scoring round because we have a total of 7 coin symbols out here. Put those. We're going to put the last monster in the deck.
I almost had a 6x6 square.
We're going to move fall out of the way because we're
just had one
done playing in fall.
more square. It would have been a 6x6 square.
Okay,
But
just
I
one
did
more.
5x5.
I got up to a 3x3. So you start with your Lost Barony, and I have a square of a 3x3. Remember, mountains count as covered spaces. So I'm going to get 9 points now for my goal C. 9 points for that. And then for goal D, you just count up all the green spaces or forests that you have touching the outer edge of the map. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 points for goal D. Now you count up your money. I have 3 money. And then you count up how many open spaces you have next to a monster. And in my case, I have 1, 2, 3 right here that are orthogonally adjacent. So -3. I keep balancing out my coins. So my coins are basically worthless.
Yeah.
So I only have to add up these other 2, which makes adding for me a lot easier since I have that. So I'm going to get 20 points. So that's another low score for me. Oh, you can't even see. There we go. There we go. So that's what I got for this round. Now it's on to our last round. This will be the shortest of all of them. It is winter. Also, it's the shortest because it's a liar. Because we all know that winter is the longest season. All right. So winter is only going to last for 6 rounds. We're going to get rid of the Lost Barony. We're going to put this up. Actually, we're going to pull this down. So now we're going to be scoring goals A and B. So D. A and D. Sorry. A and D. So remember, A was the one where you had to have lakes adjacent to mountains or fields adjacent to mountains. You're going to get 2 points for each lake adjacent to a mountain and 2 points for each field adjacent to a mountain. Or 1 point. 1 point for each field adjacent to a mountain.
2 for water, 1 for fields.
Yeah, 2 for water, 1 for fields. Okay, and then for the forest, it's the same thing we just did. You're going to get 1 point for every forest touching the outer edge. And that's what we're going to, that's our last scoring round. So we're going to shuffle all these up. And we're going to see what we get. We get a fishing village. So there's a 1x4. You can either have it be a water or you can have it be a village. But again, water is going to be the thing that's going to get you points.
Yeah, if it's touching a mountain.
If it's touching a mountain. If it's not touching a mountain, then
I'm running out of mountain spaces.
you can kind of just place it anywhere. If ever you can't place it, the shape at all on your map, you get to just fill in one of that type, just 1 square. So if it ever, that applies for like I said, with the ruins, if you can't place it on a ruin because you filled all your ruins, then you just fill in 1 square. But if you can't place a shape at all, then you just fill in 1 square. Okay, next round. Oh, this might be a really short round. We have 2 twos already. So we have the orchard. So this one is a L. So you can either have it be a forest or you can have it be a field. Again, the forests are going to get you points if they're touching the edge. And the fields are going to get you points if they are touching a mountain. I think I'm going to fill in this space like that. And then I'll get another coin because I went next to a mountain. Okay, and this might be the last round. If I draw 2, the game is over and we add everything up because we'll be at a total of 6. If it's a 1, then we'll do another one. If it's the Riftlands, then we might have another 2. Oh, it's a 1. Okay, so this one is the Forgotten Forest. So you can either take this little symbol right here, or you can take the smaller of the 2 with just the 2 dots diagonally from each other and take the coin. And that is what that one is going to be. That is a good point. I think I am going to do that as well. Cover up my monsters, but also by doing that, I got a coin. Oh, I got 2 coins because I got a coin for using the thing, and I got another coin for being next to filling in the mountain space. Okay, possibly the last round. It's the Hamlet. So this is the last round because we are at a total of 6. So you just have to, The only way that is going to help you right now is if you can fill in monster spaces, empty monster spaces, or if you can fit the smaller of the 2 and take the coin. There's no real point in taking the bigger of the 2, unless if it's going to somehow get you a coin as well. But I am going... Or cover up monster spaces, exactly. So... I can't cover up monster spaces. But what I can do is I can take the smaller of the 2 and finish the adjacency of 1 more mountain. So that is going to get me 2 more coins. And this probably fell asleep again. There we go. Okay, so I just filled in the last one. And... there we go. Okay, so that is the last round. I'm going to do the scoring, and then we just total everything up, and we're going to see who wins. Okay, I'm going to move these out of the way. So that was winter. It was a very short winter. Hope you're all happy. Okay, I'm going to move up my board. And we're going to just look at the last two goals and score them up. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Again, just count all your lakes that are orthogonally adjacent to a mountain. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I have 18 of those. I'm just going to make a reference there. And then count up all your fields that are adjacent, and they are 1 point for each field adjacent. So 1, 2, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I have a total of 22 points for that first goal right there. So that's kind of high for me right there. And the next one is you're going to put up your highest, your total of your forest. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. And then your coins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 coins during that last round, minus the 1 negative point. Okay. And then now I just get to do all the fun part of totaling this all up.
Well, here is mine.
Here, I'll put it closer to you and you can explain more.
Turned out really pretty, and there we go. Can kind of see the whole thing. So I still had a space here with this monster, but I ended up with 117 points. What did you get?
I got 107.
Wow. Okay. So that's actually, it still turned out to be pretty close.
Yep. All right. So there was my total. 107 points is what I ended with. And
Eric
so
says 100, I think.
100, you think?
Clarissa has 103. That's great.
Nice. So we all kind of landed pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
Again, this was when you guys play with us Tuesday. The goals will be similar, but I'll probably randomly pick goals. And I mean, they're similar as in one goal is going to do something with lakes and fields. One goal is going to do something with forests. One goal is going to do something with cities. And one goal is going to do something with spatial recognition. So what did you guys think of this one? Did you think it was as difficult as we made it out to be? We feel like it's, after playing Patchwork, it kind of clicks in your brain a little easier, at least placement. But that doesn't mean that goals and everything else click in as well for everybody. Okay, Clarissa loved it, so
Oh, good.
that is great.
Yeah. You know, Adam actually played another game that we think you would like, Clarissa.
Yeah, we don't have it.
We don't have it yet, but we'll probably look into it. But it's floor plan. Is that?
I think it's called Floor Plan. And what you're doing is you are the designer of a house and you're designing different rooms, but there's different, so the goals are different clients that are looking for particular things. Like maybe they're looking for a pool or like a spacious living room. And so you get a certain amount of points by how many clients are interested in coming and looking at your house at the end of the game.
But it's kind of similar to this where you're trying to fit the strange shapes.
Well, with that one, it's a little more open-ended, but you're just doing kind of like boxes and stuff.
So Clarissa said that the Patchwork game did help, having played that first.
Okay, good.
Eric thought it was fun and that it was kind of easy.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise us, Eric, because, you know,
You've played a lot of...
You guys have played a lot of board games, so you kind of have a lot of pre-knowledge, I guess.
Yep. I also picked out by far like the easiest goal cards I could find to really help you guys in your brain just kind of click with how to play this game.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we play on Tuesday, we're just going to randomly pick them. So some of these might be the same, but some are going to be slightly different. And so it'll help us all kind of learn a little bit more. So again, Tuesday, we are going to play Patchwork to start with. So come on, join in with us. We'll sort of do teach and play as we go, since we won't take as much time teaching. We'll just kind of jump into playing that one. And then with this one, we'll jump into playing it as well. So what did she say?
I love the thing with the strategy, forms, colors, all satisfying.
Great.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, we'll play Patchwork and then we will play Cartographers. Cartographers. So we'll probably play a couple rounds of Patchwork and then a couple rounds of Cartographers.
Yep.
See how time allows. So.
And so we haven't picked a game to teach and play for next week, but we'll probably ask you guys on Tuesday what games
so
you...
thinking about it.
Yeah, be thinking about games that you might be interested in us teaching and playing again. And then what we'll start doing is cycling these into the game nights and build upon them. So like this next game night, it's going to be Patchwork and Cartographers. But as time goes on, we might be able to switch around games a bit more, or just we might stick with the pattern of playing 2 games a night and just playing each game a few times so everyone feels comfortable, even if it's their first time joining in. So other than that, thank you for joining us Saturday morning. It's always a pleasure to get to play with you guys.